Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I'm continuing my walk. Decided not to walk back to the hotel just yet, even though I know it's going to get dark in about an hour. Figured I'd enjoy some more of the sunlight, this nice weather. But what came to my mind just now is I don't want to lock in bad feelings, you know what I'm saying? When you're feeling negative, you got stuff on your mind that doesn't help the cause. A lot of times I didn't know how not to lock in those feelings. And we were talking about locking in the previous video. But like just bad vibes when you're thinking, okay, I feel sad. But you're locking it in. You're locking it in. You can use words like, I intend to feel better for, I'm going to feel better. Feeling better is something that I'm intent on doing. And as I feel this intention, I'm welcoming the ability to. I've never been really taught how to do that. And I think about what I was told very recently, that I'm a negative person. And I was listening to my boy T say, and tell me something different. It wasn't him that said that, but he was saying that he's trying to follow things, all positivity. That's all he's interested in is following positivity. And it's just one of those situations where it's like, with the way that my brain has always operated, I always lock in my bad feelings. I feel sad. I feel bad. I feel mad. Like, you know what I mean? Just lock them in. It's like as if you have no room for locking in something else. If you can confirm and lock in bad feelings, why can't we confirm and lock in the intention to change those feelings? I feel like changing those feelings. You know what I mean? I feel like it's okay to feel bad, and you can feel bad. But with your confirmation, don't lock it in. With your ability to acknowledge it, you may acknowledge it. I'm not saying live in denial, but just like you have the ability to acknowledge your pain, acknowledge your intentions of overcoming that pain with the words that you use in your head or aloud. And so I've heard of many people saying you got to think positively. You got to think positively. But it always seemed like something that was over there as opposed to something that I could do inside of me. Not to say that I was always thinking negatively, because I didn't. I was welcoming a good energy, and when I felt good energy, I'm happy. And you could lock those in. But I was just thinking to myself, like, I'm feeling so sad and I don't know why. No, I'm not locking that in. I'm not confirming that for me to reinforce that truth and then say, yes, I am. No, I was feeling a certain way, and I'm intentional on locking in a better intention entirely. I wish to feel better. I'm going to feel better. I am feeling better. I am feeling better may be denial when you say that you're feeling good when you're not. But to not lock it in to confirm that you're feeling bad may be key. And so as I think back on what ultimately drove my friend away from me, it's what she considered me locking in bad feelings, I believe. Locking in energies that she didn't want to confirm. Now, granted, for me, I was outside of the circumstance that we were talking about. So for me, I could look at her situation and say, well, the worst case scenario may be possible. But if I were in that situation, maybe it would be best for me not to even think about or lock into the fact, especially when it's not a fact. It's somebody else's projection upon your circumstance. That's how she saw it. I was projecting something onto her circumstance that she was not willing to receive. And so as I look back on what it is that I've done wrong, I would say it was just coming to that situation with intentions of sharing with her in the worst case scenarios about a situation that she's in and I'm not in. I'm not a negative person, and because of it, I know I don't have to lock that in. Locking in bad feelings that project onto other people's lives, locking in bad feelings that project onto mine. You can acknowledge what it is that's in your face, but you can also acknowledge your intention of changing it. You can acknowledge what it is that's on your life, but you can also lock in your intentions of making that a different thing than what it is that you've been dealing with as it pertains to what your intention is of keeping it as it is. So let's not lock in those bad feelings no more. Let's tell ourselves, hey, I may be feeling bad, but after this moment, The only thing I'm willing to lock in is the fact that I'm gonna feel better. Only thing I'm willing to lock in is the fact that it is possible that things get better, and as they do, I'm going to be thankful even before that happens, because I got a God that will help me with that. And God is a big part of that for me. I think a lot of times we can lock things in without giving God an opportunity to make sure that it's even necessary to do so. And while my friend's situation I had prayed about already, that's kind of what brought us to that conversation, was the fact that I had told her I was thankful that certain things were a certain way, so that things could be as I've prayed for. But if your prayers are going to be communicating positivity to God but not to the people involved in the circumstance, then it's only going to bring forth more of a circumstance where they have to figure out whether or not they want what you are saying to be locked into their lives. And so it's just a mindset thing, you know. I don't wish for things to go any worse for anybody, you know what I mean? And least of all for my friends and myself. And I just wish that that was something that was conveyed a bit better. But I don't think it was meant for them to be conveyed any better. I think it was meant for her to feel however she felt. And now that she did what she did, I have to either choose to lock in the bad feelings that come with that, or lock in the positive ones that maybe will leave that outside of the circumstance. You know, she left, so now I'm feeling sad. No, she left, so now I have an opportunity to be strong without her. She left because she did something that she felt was going to help her not have to lock in bad feelings. Now I could take that same energy and not lock in bad feelings about her. You know what I mean? That same stuff. It's like, we just don't have to lock them in. A lot of times we want to lock in the problem. You have to lock them in. I've been walking around intentional on feeling better. And that's what came to me. As she was trying to push me away because she felt I was trying to lock in a bad fate to her situation, and I was being negative. And I'm telling you that in her reacting to that, I have to do the same thing for myself and not lock in those bad vibes or those bad feelings based on what it is she chose to do. You know, and so we all have to look upon others. You know, when she said I was a negative person, she was essentially not locking that in for me. And I get to either keep that with me or reject it. She said I was negative. It may be a bit of recognition for me to understand where she may have come to that conclusion, but it's only real if I lock it in. I'm only negative if I do, in fact, be negative from here in regards to what it is that's being told to me about myself. So she say, okay, you're a negative person. Fair. But let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that for what you said and teach myself how not to be. To elevate what my positivity would otherwise be. In locking in positive thoughts and locking in positive affirmations about me. Doing the work. It's not just about, okay, I'm positive and then proceeding to do things the same way. No. What you did made me better. Because not only did it teach me how to live without you, but it also taught me how to learn from what it is that you were trying to ultimately teach me. Even if your intention was not to teach me anything, but to just push me away. In pushing me away, I devised new lessons. And so how do I be positive? By not allowing what she did, by way of what I did, to bring forth any more negativity in my life. I'm not locking it in. I am not a negative person. I don't have negative thoughts that have any chance of getting a win. I'm a positive person, and I'm certain that I can win this battle by way of my positivity and affirmations. Certain things are just going to be what they are. But as I said in that last video, it's not about what happens to you, it's about how you react to it. How am I reacting to this? Positive. She did what she had to do. Okay, I felt what I had to feel. That's reactionary. Now what are we going to do for that? Well, we're going to take that and be positive with it. We're going to take that energy and flip it on its axis to say, I'm not locking in any of that. I'm not locking in what she said about me in any way. No different than she rejected the negativity of my life. I don't have to project onto her, say she a negative person, she pushed me away, she weak, this, that. I don't have to do any of that, because that's just reinforcing more of the negativity. Now I could say, I hope and I pray that she's able to find what she needs away from me. And if we don't ever reconvene, I can trust that God was doing me the best favor by keeping her away from me, because she otherwise would not be teaching me any more lessons, just further making me have to reject certain confirmations that otherwise would only be there by her absence, deliberate absence toward me. So it's like, thank you, God, for removing this person from my life. Thank you for putting her in a position to have been removed from energy that she didn't respect. Thank you for giving me the lesson of I don't have to confirm nothing at all, but that I'm intentional on being better. And so that's what I'm here to say, man. I'm thankful, man. I'll let the Lord work out the particulars, and hopefully by way of this positivity, I can welcome righteous friendships into my life that won't have to reject my growth. Instead of saying you're a negative person, how about you help that person be a positive person rather than reinforcing more negativity into their life? Maybe you'll find that reverberates back to you a certain positivity that can bring forth an energy that you can like. That's what I would say to her if she were in my life. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing you have to do, because you don't have to tell people all the bad stuff that comes with what you feel. That ain't no good. You got to do things that work for you. And what works for me is positivity. All the positivity that comes to mind from going through something that may have been negative for a time. But it ain't to be locked in. It ain't to be considered as the only thing there is. There's positivity in my life. And I'm thankful that through that positivity, I can reaffirm that it's no need to lock in negative affirmations about my personality or affirmations about my character. I can reject that and then move forward to positivity. Move forward in positivity. So as I speak in circles, I take in all this that's around me and just realize, I'm walking alone, but I'm not walking by myself, because I'm certain and I'm positive I got a Holy Spirit that's putting all of this into me to give to you. I may not have my friend in my life, but when I look around, she was not quite in it in the first place. And a lot of what was problematic in my mind was looking at myself as alone. So it's like I better keep a friend or keep somebody that I feel like I'm feeling toward, or otherwise I really am alone. And I think that that's what I was affirming before I learned this lesson, but I ain't got to confirm that. I got my God. I don't necessarily need anyone else. And as things have gone in such a way that made it so that I don't have confirmation if that good feelings could be coming from the situation going forward, I may not be able to, show this person my growth, or maybe they don't show me theirs. That's not needed anymore. I don't need that. I may have wanted that or felt like I needed it before I learned how not to lock in bad feelings, but now I realize, you may only be for this lesson. Your purpose in my life may have only been for me to learn that A, I can be seen as a negative person by way of how I was thinking, and B, that doesn't bring about the best results for me in regards to my friendships. Maybe I should go a different route. And in having it so that you didn't leave me on good terms or great terms because of something that you perceived that I did, maybe I get stronger from the understanding that there's nothing I can do about it, that there's no way around it. So I can confirm to myself that this is a lesson worth learning, and that these affirmations and confirmations and not locking into these negative thoughts can be most definitely important for me because of the fact that I lost my friend through that, or at least the privilege to speak to her in my DMs, or however that trickled down. Needing to keep that friend close made it so that I was communicating too much without her response and not considering, hey, this is not something that is best for her. Maybe it was best for me, but that's only because I was locking in the need. I didn't lock that in. I didn't need to lock that in. You know what I'm saying? I gotta reach out. I gotta communicate. No, you don't. No, you don't. What you gotta do is live comfortably in your own skin like she is, away from you. And to understand that, as you're away from that person, the Lord can follow you and you can get closer to him. So it's like, all right, Kay, that is a blessing, friend. You know, I don't like it, but that's because I was thinking a certain way up to this point. I don't like it, but that's because I was locking certain things in. Now that I'm locking in positive things, I can say, well, shoot, her absence is probably a positive thing for the course of where I'm headed from here. She could take her time and get where she needs to go without my negativity in place. And I could take what it is that's going on with her absence and apply more faith. So that's what I'm here to say, man. Learn how to live with myself, whether people like me or not, or however that goes. Their business. I don't have to lock in those negative feelings in any way. I don't have to reject them and bring back negative feelings toward them to make me feel better. That's a fallacy. That's what happens a lot of times. I got to get back at her. For what? Because you're not strong enough to lock in positive feelings without being able to accept that something negative happened to you. I mean, that's the evil within us that wants to make things worse for us. That often makes us say, okay, well, let me get back somehow. Let me find a clever way to make her feel as bad as she made me feel. That doesn't make you feel better unless you're locking in those negative feelings that need to promote pain to feel pleasure. I don't need to do that. I can lock into something positive in that way. God will sort all of those aspects of the circumstance out, and as I'm receiving karma for different things I've done, so will the person who did whatever to me in whatever way. I don't have to get my pound of flesh off to say out of them in order to feel good, because that doesn't really make me feel good. It just brings back more negativity. You're essentially locking in more negativity. And so that's what I've learned, man. I don't want to get back at her for what? Block her, maybe like, put her in a position where she can't reach out to me now, unfollow her. It's like, that's childishness. That's a bad example. That's a bad example. You know what I mean? If what you feel someone did was unjust, you're not going to teach them anything by doing something unjust toward them. You're not going to teach them if they did something petty or they did something immature or whatever the word would be. You ain't going to reaffirm that they were making any mistakes by doing something negative back to them. It just doesn't work. What does work is you go into your meditation, affirming positive thoughts and learning the lessons necessary that were meant strictly for you. And you learn positive lessons from everyone's intentions upon your life. Even when they do things that you know are not right, doing wrong toward them doesn't help. Doing wrong toward them doesn't bring you anything that you can use. And that's what I'm here to tell all of you. All they do is make things worse for you. And in wanting better for myself, I don't believe working in that fashion is going to bring anything that I can use. And so that's what I'm here to tell all of you. That's what I'm here to say, Just bring forth a positive energy from within yourself. Bring forth a positive way forward in how you react to what people do negatively toward you. And I promise you, you will be able to gain strength and easier ways forward for it. Being petty doesn't work. Being angry because someone tried to make you angry just confirms that what they did, locks in what they did, worked. That's not a good way to oppose what's coming at you. You gotta offset it with something that it is not in order to truly do it. A lot of people think I gotta match energy. Yeah, but with what energy? A lot of times people think they're matching energy by bringing forth negativity, but a negative is a negative equals more negative. You want to match the energy, you got to bring something opposite. And a lot of times we're not taught that. But I'm learning it. Every time I didn't match energy, I got better for it. Because then good things ended up happening in my life. Then I was able to effectively avoid the negativity that otherwise was being brought to me. It wasn't about getting into any type of fight or quarrel. That didn't work. All that was going to do is make me feel worse and give me more thoughts I have to either confirm or reject. You don't want to lock in those negative thoughts. Or you bring yourself to a person that's going to bring you problems, you're going to have a lot of things that you have to deal with in that way. We want to limit those. We want to bring more positives to our mindset. So, was I going to start an argument over her blocking me? By way of her, texting her or calling her over and over again and doing all that. Nah, I didn't like how things went, but I had to turn that into making me somebody who's more positive. I had to take what she said internalize it and make it work for me, and not let it eat away at me. And so that's what I've been trying and accomplishing, trying to lock that in. And there are times when it doesn't feel all that great to be myself while I'm in this space. Sometimes I start feeling down like I was earlier today, but I ain't lock it in. I got out the house and I made these videos so that what it is that I have to deal with, there would be something to offset that, to match its energy, which would be teaching you all and sharing with you all what it is that's inside of me to learn and to now incorporate into my life more so. So I know to some I may be sounding like I'm babbling, but no, I think this is meant to be said. And what you put in your head, you do not want to lock in if it's confirming that something is wrong with you and in how you're internalizing what's taking place. Now, you may have bad news, but how do you apply that in faith? How do you apply that in a positive way of looking at things? How do you deal with those arguments? Well, you defend yourself, most definitely, if somebody's attacking you, but otherwise, you let them words not be confirmed in your heart. I thought I was treated cold. Am I going to be able to win that battle by being cold toward that person? No. All I will then do is be somebody who's remembered for being cold. Let them be the one that's remembered for being cold. Let them have to deal with that when they look in the mirror, knowing that they pushed away somebody that loved them. Let them deal with having said whatever words to you they shouldn't have said, or cutting you off in mid-sentence, if whatever the case may be, just making something up. But I'm just saying, like, whatever they may have done, let them live with that. Let them know that's who they are, and let them also know that they did it to somebody that would have never did it to them. That hurts worse than being in a situation where you say something, they say something, you say something, they say something. Now both of y'all been wrong, so nobody feels wrong for treating the other person wrong. You see that happen so many times. I ain't mad for saying what I said, because when I said what I said, they came back and said something worse. Nah, I didn't. I wished you well. I mean well for you. You may have treated me a certain way, but I would have never did you that way. And you got to know you did that to somebody who didn't deserve it. And then when you deal with other people who do deserve it, maybe you will learn from my example how not to do that, or maybe you'll understand that you should have cherished this person more. You know what I'm saying? Or a little bit of both. And that's what I hope to leave with my friend in regards to that. I tried to do right by her in every way I could. Accomplish that to the betterment of my ability. And when I look in the mirror, I see a happy person. And in everything that I did wrong, I did this. I brought it to you guys and said, how can I have learned from this? How can I take accountability? How can I make it so that I'm not doing that to this person anymore or doing it to anybody else? Working on it. Not going back at this person defensively with my fist up saying, no, I reject your criticism of me, but rather saying, for any of the negativity that you intended, I reject that, but for what the words meant and what they could do to better me, I received those. You know what I'm saying? I'm a negative person. No, not. But what I can do is make sure that all the things that I'm doing reinforce the fact that I can be a positive person. Just in case I may have something wrong about myself. And I turn your negative into a positive while rejecting all the energy that you had from me. That wasn't no good. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. Just trying my very best to now work that into the equation, that I think this way. Not to say that I've always worked that way, because I haven't, but to know that that's what works for me from here on out. And to establish that. So, that's what I got to say. BDF 44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.